originating live on blasttheradio.com. Ask your smart speaker to play Blast the Radio. Live video available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. The number to call or text is 613-413-2217. And now, telling it like it is, here's Lowell Green.
Thank you, John. Very historic day today. It was exactly 4 months ago today that Canada received our first vaccines. That's right. December 14, 2020, we got the first load of vaccines, about 12, I think. We've got a few other loads of 12 since then. And you'll be happy to know that today we have vaccinated just a little bit over 8 million people. That's just one dose. So we have half vaccinated about 8 million people. We have fully vaccinated only about 2% of our population. But I just want to remind you that while we have vaccinated about 8 million, the United States now is averaging a little bit over 4 million vaccines every day, which means, folks, and I hate to have to break this to you, but I've got to do it, right? And that is that the United States in one weekend is now vaccinating as many people as we have been able to do in 4 months. Think of it. They're doing over 8 million vaccines on a weekend in the United States. We have done a little bit over 8 million vaccines in 4 months. Despite that, the Prime Minister says, hey, we've done a hell of a job here. Nothing I would do to change the way I brought the vaccines in here. You know what? I've got a whole series of headlines here because I don't know what story is most important. If you've got an idea, if you've got something that you think we should be discussing, as always I say, don't text just to make a joke. I mean, the jokes are fine, okay. John really likes the joke.
I do.
But it would be nice to have some people actually comment on the topic.
I like that too.
I mean, that's what we do. I mean, comment, have some thoughts on the topic. Otherwise, I'll just have to assume my listeners and viewers don't have any thoughts, which is kind of scary. So where do we start with the headline? Well, let's start with this headline. 2 vaccine clinics in Scarborough, that's a suburb of Toronto, you may have heard of it, have just had to cancel about 10,000 appointments. Why? Oh, geez. The city has run out of vaccines and they will not get any more. In fact, the province won't be getting any more till Monday. Well, wait a minute. This is Wednesday. You're telling me that no vaccines Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Not till that's 6 days. So we're in the middle of the worst pandemic, the wave 3 or wave 4 or 5 or 10 or 12, whatever the hell wave it is. And we don't have any vaccines in Ontario for 6 days. This can't be. I mean, Trudeau has just said, wait till I give you the direct quote. Okay? I don't want to misquote this man. I mean, words from Trudeau are like gems dropping from pebbles. Well, maybe clams. I don't know. Our Prime Minister says, quote, by quote, I mean, these are his exact words. Quote, there is nothing about Canada's vaccine procurement effort I would do differently, unquote. In other words, he'd screw it up again, all over again, gladly, deliberately. That's one set of headlines, making us shake our heads in dismay. Well, my head anyway. I've shaken my head so often, it's a wonder my freaking brain has not fallen out, okay? Now here's another head scratcher. This is a total different story. I'm just going to go through a series of headlines here, and maybe one of these will interest you enough to actually comment on it, which would be a joy. Negotiations to try and keep Line 5 supply us with oil, gas, propane, and jet fuel will start. Negotiations between the federal government and somebody in the United States will begin on April 16 in 2 days' time. Now, some of you cynics, or maybe those with just a practical sense, may say, geez, that's a little bit late. Because the Michigan governor says she's going to shut this line down on May 11th. So you're telling me May 11th, disaster strikes the province of Ontario and a little bit in Quebec, and our government doesn't do anything until like a few days before. Yep, that's what I'm telling you. This is a woke government, folks. It's just that it's woke a little bit late, like quite a bit late, right? Now, one of the things that may rescue us is they got a hell of a problem with COVID in Michigan. Most states in the United States have opened up. They've vaccinated so many people that it's virtually business as usual, as you know. But Michigan, not so much. So this may distract them enough to keep Line 5 open. Although the case is before the court, and a lot of indications are that the courts are going to rule in favor of the Michigan governor, who says she is shutting down Line 5 on May 11th. And for those of you who still aren't aware, Line 5 supplies Ontario and Quebec with about 45% of all the gas, gasoline, oil, propane, natural gas, well, and also jet fuel. Supplies all the jet fuel for Pearson. So if they shut her down, we're in a little bit of trouble here. But finally, okay, the government is finally, I've been screaming about this now for 4 months. Rob Snow and a few other people, including John Milkey here, have been screaming about this for a long time. For God's sake, do something. They're going to shut down Line 5. It'll jack the price of gasoline if you can get it up to about $12 an ounce. So finally, they're going to start in 2 days' time. Like this Friday, they're going to start negotiating. Oh, God. I'm not going to shake my head again because my brain will fall out. Here's another headline that you may have some thoughts about. The Liberals have pulled a plug on the investigation into, this is a hell of a surprise, eh?
Oh.
Into the investigation into sexual harassment in the military.
Saw that.
Just about as the opposition was closing in on finding out just how much Justin Trudeau knew and when, and a few other people in the government. They've just shut her down. Okay, that's it. That's it. Let me see. I'm trying to keep a total here, and it's pretty hard. You need an adding machine to total up all of the investigations the Liberals have shut down. The Lavalin investigation. Hell, not only did they shut down the investigation, they shut down Parliament for about 6 months to avoid any more questions on the Lavalin. The We investigation. How much money did Mrs. Trudeau get? Margaret Trudeau, how much did she get? I don't know. Quite a bit. Why did we give $45 million to We to hand out $1 billion for what? Well, we'll never know. I mean, come on. It's only taxpayers' money. Come on. If there's another investigation that they have shut down, please let me know, okay? I've been known to forget things, okay? I'm 84. I'm allowed to forget things now and then, right? So you can make up for my missing brain, okay? If anybody out there, after all of this still has a brain or a functioning, you all have brains, but whether they still function after all of this news, I have no idea. Now, let's get a little more domestic here. What the hell is wrong with people? Some people. They have made such a freaking mess in our parks. Beer bottles, condoms, garbage, God knows what all. Probably dog poop, who knows? In all of the parks. It's such a freaking mess. You boneheads out there who did this. I mean, you should be hung-strung, put in bed, and the skin of your stupid arses pulled over your stupid head. So, it's made such a mess that instead of, being able to go out to the park at night until, now you got to shut her down at 8 o'clock. At least that's, the city's going to make that ruling. Why? Because some of you people out there are idiots. You know what? If you're not going to pull the skin of their butt over their heads, I should be at least allowed to pepper them with my damn BB gun. And the arse. Several times, both cheeks. It's unbelievable. I mean, I don't understand. Here we are. I mean, parks are one of the few places where we can go if we keep our distance, get away from it all, etc., get a little bit of exercise. And people can't stop spreading garbage. Yeah, 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 yeah. Is there a anyway? Um, Now there's another headline out there that I'm having a lot of difficulty with. Okay, there's a big story today about some award for a design. God knows how much this cost us for our new splendiferous. You know what splendiferous is? Like it's pretty fancy, right? Splendiferous. I can't even say it. Library. So we're going to spend. Well, they say $200 million. Now, when the government says they're going to spend $200 million, what does it really mean? 400, 500, 600, 700, who knows? I mean, with the gas plant scandal, it started out with $1 million and ended up as $1 billion. But anyway, they're fully planning and they're all pounding their politicians pound their chests a lot, okay? Even the women, they pound their chests. It goes back to the days when we were in the trees, and they're boasting about going to spend $200 million on a new library in the day and age of ebooks. You can't, I mean, I've published 10 best-selling books. You can hardly sell a hardcover book anymore. You know how hard it is to sell that now? I used to be able to sell 15, 20, 25,000. I'll be lucky to sell 5,000 now. You know why? Because everybody's reading them online or whatever the hell it is, an ebook. You can carry 150 books and a little tablet about the size of my palm of my hand. So why we would spend $200 million on a new library just beats the bejazzes out of me. It would seem to me, it seems to me that we have some other priority. I could be wrong. I've been wrong in 65 years about twice, okay?
Twice?
I could be right. Hey?
Twice?
Oh, that's 65 years.
Just writing
once every 30 years, I'm wrong, okay?
Just writing down for future reference, okay.
You keeping score on this, are you?
Yeah.
So it would just seem to me that we have some other priorities. It would seem to me that rather than spending $200 million on a splendiferous new public library, no, I better not say what I was going to say. So, but okay, $200 million. It would seem to me that $200 million spent on long-term care, assuring some of our seniors a little more decent living. Maybe instead of building a damn new big splendiferous new library, which our politicians can put their name on for posterity, maybe we could afford to give our seniors in long-term care a bath twice a week instead of just once. Or maybe in some cases, give them a bath at least once a week instead of once a month. I don't know, $200 million would provide a few baths, I think. But no, apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently, what the hell do I know? Sweet bugger all, I guess. And just to top things out, like if none of these headlines grab your attention, then how about this one? We still have people say, "Oh, COVID is not real. These death counts, it's just made up. It's just it's just the flu. It's nothing serious. I feel fine. I went out and hugged the dog last night. I feel fine. I went out and hugged Randy Hillier last night. I feel fine. Should feel like an idiot, but anyway, you feel fine." So just to top things off, because I know that this is just make believe, but CHEO, which is supposed to be for children, marvelous institution,
yep,
is now preparing to start taking adult patients. Why? Well, because hospitals, not just across Ontario, but across Canada, are becoming overwhelmed with COVID patients. So they're going to clear up some beds, create some new beds at CHEO for adult patients. That's how serious the situation is, folks. Meantime, as I say, they've had to cancel. Well, actually, it's 10,000 clinics, 10,000 appointments at 2 clinics in Scarborough. My understanding is that they've had to, overall in Toronto alone, cancel about 20,000 appointments. John, I'll be with you in just a moment there. But, John, you and I, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about this fact that it doesn't make any sense to allow people to make appointments for vaccines before you get the vaccines, because
Correct.
you can't trust what Trudeau says. Trudeau says we're bringing in so many now and so forth, but we've found out time and time again that this is what happened. So this time Trudeau said, no, there's going to be X. I forgot. I have no idea, a million or whatever it is coming in on Monday or Tuesday, whatever the hell it was. Turns out they're not going to come till next Monday. Oh, says Trudeau, I'm sorry, I forgot the wrong Monday. So they book about 20,000 appointments. Can you imagine? It's hard to get people, booked all the appointments. All of the people went through, 20,000 of them. And then there's no vaccines. So they've had to cancel all the appointments, which, among other things, mean all of those people that they hired to help out, everything. Oh, nothing to do. They've shut the clinics down. But Trudeau says, I wouldn't do anything different. I wouldn't make a single change. I'm very proud of what I have done. Well, you may differ. Love to talk with you. I'd love to talk with you. I'd love to hear from you. It's quite easy to do. Just as it's easy to contact one of my favorite dealerships, okay? Shields Furniture and Appliances and Butcher Shop. I keep forgetting. People keep saying, Lowell, they have a wonderful butcher shop there too. Now, as far as I know, because it's food, you can still go in. But whether you want to go in or not is entirely up to you, but you can certainly order whatever it is in the way of appliances. Shields, SCHEELS. There's an S on there, so people sometimes forget, .ca. You'll see the entire list of what they have in stock, the prices, et cetera, delivery dates, the whole business. They're good people to deal with. Valley business that's been around since 1947. Folks, don't give your money to Brazil. Brazil's okay. But why would you want to give your money to Brazil? Better yet, why the hell would you want to give your money to China? I mean, maybe withhold some of the funds that you would otherwise give to China and give them to Shields up there in Pakenham and support local business. Makes sense to me. Yes, John, we've got some emails.
All right, here we go. Ann says, how about a splendiferous new hospital? I like that idea, Ann.
That would be nice.
Wouldn't it? I'm sorry, I never know if it's Jean or Jean. I apologize. COVID, not real? Have those spoiled brats taken a maskless tour through a COVID ward? Eric says, it is time that this nation put on its big boy pants and stop relying on other countries for critical infrastructures, medicine, transportation, education, power, high-tech, food, etc. The big things that keep this country safe and running. Thank you, Eric. Lynn says, what doesn't he shut down when it could involve Trudeau? Jim says, this Trudeau is a master at sweeping stuff under the carpets and nobody says anything. Frank says, why are we pretending that everyone is frothing at the mouth to get a jab of a miracle cure, which was concocted overnight, while the solution for other disasters still eludes us after decades?
Oh, God, what did I throw up? Okay, give me a pair of shoes there. I want to throw up into my shoes.
That's day two for you, Frank. Frank, here's the number.
Is that the same Frank?
613-413-2217.
Can I suggest something? Sorry. Frank, can I suggest something, sir? A brain transplant? You obviously need it. And I'm not volunteering mine, but I'm sure that there are some of those people who threw the garbage out in the park. I'll volunteer their brains, okay? They'll give you a new brain. Sorry, John, go ahead.
No, listen, Frank, it's an open line call-in show, Frank. We're not going to yell at you. Lowell and I would just...
I will yell at him. I'm so damn mad.
All right. Well, yesterday you weren't going to yell at him. Today you're going to yell at him. Fine.
I wasn't going to yell at him yesterday.
I'll be nice to you today, Frank. Lowell, not so much. Ann says, so let's see. Canada has to rely on foreign vaccines and foreign oil. Craig, I just read that Canada will not restrict the use of AstraZeneca vaccine. Most of the world has. Robert emails, it seems to me the only thing that will actually prevent Justin from calling his coveted election will be the third wave overflowing hospitals with dying Canadians. I can't help but note the irony. Let me see. We got Tim saying salvaging Trudeau's reputation is more important than people's health. Mike says, what a disgrace, what an embarrassment. Carolyn says, have you seen some of the contradictions of most of the drugs that are taken daily? It scares you. But the disease that you take it for far outweighs the side effects.
Now, I want to ask you another question, and I don't want to be rude, and I don't necessarily want to be judgmental, although a little bit of judgment maybe wouldn't be a bad idea. But my question is this. In light of the fact that we are in the midst of the third wave, that it's overtaking the
13
country,
2217.
what the hell are you doing, John?
Sorry, Lowell. I was trying to reply to one of your listeners, and it took me to our live stream. I apologize.
Let me reset here.
Sorry, Lowell.
In light of what's happening, the fact that other countries are far we're 54th or something now on the list, and despite this, the Prime Minister says he wouldn't change a thing. There's something wrong with his thinking. There's got to be something amiss. And I want to thank my wife, Debbie. She went into the Mayo Clinic website to seek out what the Mayo Clinic says about narcissistic personality disorder. And I just read this. You can make up your own mind. I'm not making any determination, but I want to read you word for word, verbatim, what the Mayo Clinic says about, quote, narcissistic personality disorder. Overview. Narcissistic personality disorder, one of several types of personality disorders, is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. Let me give you a list of some of the symptoms listed by the Mayo Clinic, one of the world's great health authorities. The Mayo Clinic, this is what they say are some of the symptoms of narcissistic personality. I give these to you for you to make your own determination if there is a more serious problem here than some of us may have suspected. So here are, quote, signs and symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, and the severity of symptoms vary. People with the disorder can, quote, have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, quote, have a sense of entitlement and require constant, excessive admiration, quote, expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements that warrant it, quote, exaggerate achievements and talents, quote, be preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate, quote, believe they are superior and can only associate with equally special people, quote, monopolize conversations and belittle or look down on people they perceive as inferior, quote, expect special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations, quote. I wonder if Jody Wilson-Raybould might have a thought about that one. I'll read you a couple more. Once again, these are symptoms listed by the Mayo Clinic as signs and symptoms of a narcissistic personality disorder. Quote, behave in an arrogant or haughty manner, coming across as conceited, boastful, and pretentious. Quote, insist on having the best of everything, for instance, the best car, the best office. Some of the symptoms listed by the Mayo Clinic of a narcissistic personality disorder. I just thought that I would pass that along to give you some thought. And once again, I ask the question, is there something more deeply than many of us had suspected going on here? How can a man, in face of what is happening with COVID, when everybody knows the terribly slow delivery of vaccines has cost many deaths, much suffering, and economic chaos, and yet he says, quote, he would not change a thing. There's something wrong there. There is something amiss. It seems to me that a person with a normal set of, I don't know, with a normal amount of common sense, with a normal amount of regret, somehow or other would say, yes, you know what, I should have done this. You know, it was, I would, even a child, when a child does something wrong, they will generally, if confronted with the fact, they will admit it. But this man refuses to admit that he has done any, and not only refuses to admit that he's done anything wrong, but says that he would repeat the same mistakes, because there have been terrible mistakes, but he would repeat them. Is there something wrong here? John, you're on with more text here.
As you're reading the definitions, Kathy and Tim pretty much asked the same question. Tim says, hey, where did you get Trudeau's medical file? And Kathy says, you are describing Trudeau. A text at 613-413-2217. Lowell, when the 1 shower a week rule came out, my father was in a nursing home because of Parkinson's disease, and he couldn't put up with the 1 shower, so I wore my swim trunks when I went to see him and helped him in the shower room. When the nurse saw me helping him, they said I wasn't qualified to help him have a shower, even when I told them I'd been showering myself for years. Joshua, Lowell, do you think Pierre Trudeau would have done anything differently, anything better? Curious on your opinion, says Joshua.
Doesn't matter, does it really? I to be honest with you, I think so. I think that Pierre, I mean, I was highly critical of the man. I knew him. I met him on more than one occasion. But I think he was much more intelligent than Justin. He made some bad mistakes, but he made some good decisions. In the end, I don't know. It's pure speculation. I just cannot see him making the same kind of mistake that is being made now. And then saying, I think that he would have been too smart to say that he would do the same thing over again. This is when someone who has made terrible mistakes and the whole world knows it says that they wouldn't make anything different, do anything different. This is a sign of something seriously wrong. We're not just talking fringe problems here. I think there's something seriously wrong. Could be wrong. Yes, John.
Pete says, Trudeau is incompetent, should not be in the House of Commons, should not be Prime Minister. He has no experience. We need to get him out before he bankrupts Canada. We have Howard saying, out of nowhere yesterday, shoppers texted me and said I had a 2 p.m. vaccine appointment. I went there, got the first shot yesterday, but disappointed I now have to wait 4 months for the second shot.
Yeah, the people keep forgetting this, that you get the first shot, but you don't have full immunity by any stretch until the second shot. It was very interesting. I was watching Power and Politics on, I guess it was CTV last night, and they had a top expert from Texas, the top medical doctor from Texas on this, and they were asking him, because Texas is doing very well. You know, I don't know how many they've vaccinated, but Texas is wide open. And he was asked, when do you think you will be able to achieve herd immunity in the United States? At what point? And he said, when about somewhere between 80 and 83% are vaccinated, we will have herd immunity and we will be right out of the problem. And so the interviewer was smart enough to say, now, when you say 83% vaccinated, do you mean after both shots? He said, oh, yes. I was really quite surprised that he would admit that. Of course, in the United States, there's no way they're stretching it out 4 months. They're giving you the second shot within 21, 28 days, which is what you're supposed to. Centennial Glass, we're almost out of time here. Thank you for all of your emails, your texts. I wish that we'd had a few phone calls, but what the heck? I'll take whatever we can get here. Centennial Glass. Once again, we're dealing with a local company. And if you can, you know, I've said this and I'll say it again, but I still see people lined up, you know, at the big box stores. They're still like lined up to get into IKEA. And you're the one who pointed this out, John. You could see them lining up maybe to get into Costco, you know, need some food. But I mean, do you really need a lamp so much that you've got to line up? But what I'm saying here is, look, if you can, and everything else is equal, give your business locally. God bless me. Centennial Glass is a great local company. They've made a very proud reputation here. They're very proud of their reputation. Whatever it is, if it's glass, they're highly inventive, custom glass furniture of all kinds, protective glass, etc. Whether it's a giant hotel or restaurant project, or just you need a broken window repaired, some stupid idiot has thrown something through your window, give Centennial Glass a call. They'll fix it up, folks, and their prices are very, very competitive. We do have a phone call. Okay, as long as it's not Barry.
Should I hang up?
Ahead.
Should I hang
Go
up
ahead.
then? What do I do here? Go ahead,
Is it Barry?
Of course it's Barry.
Oh, Barry, we're almost out of time. Last call to you, sir. The only call.
Yeah, I know that, Lowell. I just wanted to briefly say that we all got to know that all you got to do is look at Trudeau's sock collection to know that he's a Fruit Loop.
Well, no, but I don't think it's a joke. I understand you're trying to be funny here, but when you read the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, I mean, almost every symptom that I've listed there, I think you could charge Trudeau with. Do we have a man heading this country with a serious personality disorder? I think it's a fair question. Thank you, Barry. Thank you all. Thank you, folks. Yes, we will be back tomorrow.
Lowell Green, live on blasttheradio.com. Show info and links at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Subscribe to the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple